Ladies and gentlemen, I've been sitting up here tonight and I got this Y2, George Michael's Praying for Time, one of my favorite songs by George. I was going over some old songs and I couldn't listen to Careless Whispers because Careless Whispers, those of y'all who know what Careless Whispers is, that song took me too far back. And the memories with that song, too many memories. So I couldn't listen to Careless Whispers tonight. But while I'm driving, you better believe Careless Whispers is going to be playing on my radio, because that's when I listen to Careless Whispers. I always played Careless Whispers on my car stereo. Very seldom that I play it in my home. So that's that one. But I did George Michael's, and I did my Deborah Cox and Whitney Houston and her singing same script different. Man, whew. Deborah Cox, that's my girl. And if y'all don't know who Deborah Cox is, shame on y'all. And then we got one more, Jennifer Holliday, I Am on Your Side. And I am telling you. Okay, and you know I got it. Me and Jennifer, I Am Love. And so she did I Am on Your Side, I Am Love, I Am Telling You. And then Oletta Adams, Get Here If You Can. Growing up, I didn't know who sang that song. I just knew it to be the Greyhound song, okay? And you can get here by trailways, cross the desert and... Okay, anyway, that was my song growing up. And so, what I'm trying to say is, we can never go back to that time. I used to listen to these songs all the time. They would play in the background all the time. Get in my car, I'd play them. But I haven't played none of this in months. And that's unusual for me, because we're not there. We used to be there. We used to be where we could relax. But have you guys noticed that we can't relax anymore? We can't take time to just chill. Let's chill. Let's settle down, because that's what I want to do. Anyway, we can't do that anymore. It's not possible. It's this world. It's this current environment. You know, I had this person contact me, and I told him, I said, look, hey, I ain't got time to be reading your manifesto. He wrote a book, a novel. And so I ain't got time to be reading all that. He says, well, the email I sent you, you can click on it and listen to it. If I don't have time to read it, I definitely don't have time to listen to it. Sorry, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. What is wrong with people? I understand. They don't know that I do this 7 days a week. 7 days a week. You see, they get a break. Remember I talked about relaxing and just taking time to yourself? They get a break. They get the weekends, or they get the evenings, or, they get the early mornings, or they get a day off during the week, or 2 days off during the week. I don't get that. I don't get that. They get a break. They can turn on a football game, a basketball game, a soccer, a hockey, tennis game, a baseball game. They could even watch crochet, cricket. They can sit up there and watch volleyball. They can choose what they want to watch. They can watch movies, and they can go to the movies, and they can hang out at the mall. I don't get to do none of that, people. I don't have the time to do that. Even today is my busiest day. Well, tomorrow is going to be hectic, because I got almost 200 miles I have to drive. Lord have mercy. And then I have this, it's called a water bladder. It holds 500 gallons. And it was leaking. And it took me 2 hours to fill up 2 of them. And then I look back a day later, and one of them is completely empty. And it turns out the valve wasn't closed all the way. And it's at the bottom, and I didn't see it leaking. So, oh well. And then the other one did not have a cover on it at all for the outlet. But because the outlet was pointed downward, its leak was drip, 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 drip. So it took some time for it to lose its water. So I will go and I will get connectors, probably from Home Depot, to close those valves. Yay. But 500 gallons, I have 3 of them. Okay? Plus I have another 500-gallon container. Then I have, it's water storage. Look, we're getting to that point where you're not going to have access to water. People, they're going to... What is that idiot who works for Pfizer, the CEO? He talked about how that whole COVID stuff was just a test. What? A test? Oh, now you can say something about COVID. Now you can talk about the jabs and all of that stuff because it's long but since been passed. But I don't want to talk about that. That's why you don't hear me talking about it. You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about... No, I can't even talk about that because it's controversial. No, you don't understand. When I say, it's not that I don't want to talk about controversial stuff. It's... What I was going to talk about is controversial. It involves a person who is controversial. And I don't want to get into the middle of that junk. Because it ain't worth it. It ain't worth talking about. Look. We have the situation with Israel. Israel, oh, it's an atrocity. Well, then how come none of you have done anything about it? People are protesting. What is a protest going to do? I told y'all. There are other people who are saying the same thing I'm saying, but they have power. Watch and see. I told you. All I know is there's going to be some report of some dirty bomb. Don't know how or when or where. I just know that that's what I heard when I was allowed to see this time period. When that happens, you'll be like, that mother was right. Man, how did that mother... No, what was... that's what you're going to be saying. I'll be like, That's all I'm going to say. Now, again, let's tell you something. Ladies and gentlemen, we have these courts that are blocking access. And y'all don't seem to understand, so I've been pointing it out as of late. The reason why you guys cannot get... drop the phone. Sorry, let's bring that back over. The reason why you guys can't seem to get nothing done, you can't accomplish anything, is because you don't understand where you're at. Dorothy, you ain't in Kansas, and it ain't the court you think it is. Okay? You're not in a district court. You're not in a superior court. You're not in an appeals court. These are not real courts, people. Y'all really must understand. The Supreme Court, in that Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case, they got away with it. 1938 to 39. Supreme Court ruled, hey, there ain't no federal common law. Y'all ain't got nothing coming in the federal courts. And since then, you had nothing coming in the federal... Well, I have somebody that won in the... No. They'll let a couple of people win. The number one thing about the courts is public perception. The public has to believe that the courts render justice, that they are fair. That's why they put it on TV. That's why the judge is always giving speeches as if they're holier than thou. Because they have to make you all think that they honorable. They even call themselves honorable. Ain't nothing honorable when you're lying to everybody. They are liars. There is a federal common law. Look at the 7th Amendment. The common law was not borrowed from no stupid England. Go ahead. There's nothing in the Constitution saying we borrowed it. Well, they said it in the papers of the federal... Look, we don't have all of the documents. They destroyed a lot, and a lot of them are hidden from us. We only have what they want us to see. You guys keep talking about history. Y'all don't know history. You want to learn the real history? Go and read the old newspapers. Why? Because they don't think that you guys are going to do it. They can't hide that. The old newspapers, every city, every town, every state has old newspapers on microfilm, and go read it. See what was really going on at the time, as opposed to that junk they were telling us they brought people over from Africa. Yeah, they brought over a few from Africa, but it wasn't no so-called 12.3 million. And only 10.2 million survived the trip. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand how much of a lie that is? Now, I want you to go back to the 1700s, look at the size of their ships. And these weren't luxury liners. These were just ships. Who built all of these ships? Where are these ships? They're not at the bottom of the ocean. They lied. They lied. Literally putting people on ships in Virginia and bringing them to South Carolina and taking them past the so-called international boundary because it's law merchants and the law of nations. Ladies and gentlemen, they get them to international waters, they can bring them back in. Why? Because when they brought them out to international waters, they weren't slaves. They were the Indians. When they brought them back into South Carolina, remember, pay attention, they didn't speak English. That's a great thing. Wait. You guys didn't understand? Go back and watch 10 Years a Slave. 10 Years a Slave. Hold on. Y'all hold on. Here it is right here, ladies and gentlemen. 12 Years a Slave. I said 10 years. Sorry, I got it wrong. 2013 is when this movie came out, based on a true story. An accomplished person of color goes to visit, goes to give a speech, goes to another state that has slaves, and they take his papers, and make him a slave. I don't know why people don't understand that was a common thing. And there was nobody who was going to speak up for him. The only good thing he had going for him is he had a lot of friends who had some money. But it was 12 years, ladies and gentlemen. 12 years he was in prison. Because that's what slavery is. Slavery is prison. What? That's why the rule is no involuntary slavery. Servitude. Involuntary servitude is slavery. Slavery is prison. Okay, but now y'all see, we're going to get rid of all of that. Now y'all understand I got rid of some megabytes. But you go back and read the old newspapers, that's where you're going to get the information from. That's how I found out. I guessed it at first because it was the only logical reason, but then got the old newspapers to prove it. That was a practice, taking people from the U.S. claiming, they were going on a trip, and then bringing them back to another state, importing them, saying that they came from Africa. All you gotta do is dress them out of their clothes and put them in rags and say they came from Africa. They didn't speak English. Ta-da! There you go. You go to the 1800s, look at all the papers they destroyed. Look at all the congressional records they destroyed. Why did they destroy the congressional records? Russia did the same thing. Why did they destroy their congressional or legislative records, legislative history? Interesting, ain't it? Gotta love them. All right, gotta go. Yeah, gotta get up early in the morning to find me another way out. Okay, gotta get up. See y'all later. Arrivederci.